doing, everybody? It is your boy Luna the Programmer, and I think today's video will actually be a little bit different from obviously the usual Dokkan battle videos, but even a little different from the older power scaling videos that I used to do, and I don't think I've done one in like 7 or 8 months. So here we are with something, maybe a bit of a return to form and something different in other ways. But what I wanted to talk about was something that's been on my mind for weeks, months, years at this point, and it's largely due with my problems with Dragon Ball Super as a whole, not just the anime, but also the manga. And for the purposes of video, we'll probably be mixing continuities, going back and forth between the two a decent amount. So if you'll forgive me this time, because usually I don't like mixing the two, but I think my point will stand once we get into it. So you've seen the title and you've seen the thumbnail. I think the biggest problem with modern Dragon Ball is obviously the writing, but the reason why I think the writing is the issue is largely due to Beerus. Um, Beerus, since his introduction in the story, I believe he served his purpose in Battle of Gods, and I do think he is certainly a good supporting character alongside Whis. His dynamic with Whis is pretty good, and I do like that. But I think the problem is he is no longer an obstacle that Goku should be concerned with. I think the series overall has gravitated towards the Angels and perhaps even the Grand Priest, if you want to go that far. And we have long surpassed Gods of Destruction being the new bar for the most powerful character that Goku has to surpass. So, the problem that I have is when we have Toyotaro, the author of the manga, saying in an interview that Goku has not yet surpassed Beerus. And I really hate this sort of retroactive attempt to try and make Beerus more relevant than he realistically should be, with little to no explanation. So, obviously, like, okay, let's start off with the manga, right? So, in the Black Arc, we have okay, maybe Vegito Blue at his peak. He might be around Beerus level. Okay? And you think, well, obviously Goku unfused would be weaker than that, at least in the manga. The anime, you might be able to make some different arguments, but let's go for the purpose that okay, Goku in his base form is weaker than Vegito Blue in the manga, right? Okay, we get to the Tournament of Power, right? And he fights Jiren, and he uses Ultra Instinct, right? And he unlocks the full Ultra Instinct, and then he beats Jiren. And then you're like, okay, that's good and dandy. So where does Beerus stand? Well, and I've said this in other videos, that Beerus, or rather it's been stated that Beerus is weaker than Jiren numerous times across both the anime and the manga. Like, you have statements from Whis. You have statements from the guides. You have statements from Topo. You have so many things, right? And you're like, okay, at this point, Jiren should be stronger than Beerus, right? And this is just the Tournament of Power arc. So you're like, okay, Jiren is stronger than Beerus, and then Goku is stronger than Jiren at full power, of course. So then that means Ultra Instinct Goku should be stronger than Beerus. You're like, okay, so now we move on to the Broly movie, right? So you got, okay, Broly movie. Maybe you want to grab that one scan that says Broly is the strongest person they've ever fought, right? But then maybe you say that's contradicted by Goku saying that Broly might be stronger than Beerus. Whatever. Whether you believe that Jiren is stronger than Broly or not, doesn't really matter because when we get to the moral arc, so again, we're under Toyotaro's complete control again, and Toriyama, I suppose, can't completely absolve him of guilt. So we get there, and then Goku is fighting Moro, and, he uses Ultra Instinct. He pulls out the full Ultra Instinct. They clash. Moro gets freaking angel powers, right? And Goku is casually keeping up with him. And then, he's like, Goku is like, yeah, you're pretty strong. In fact, you're the strongest guy that I have ever fought, and it's really a shame that you won't reform and be good or whatever. You're like, okay, that means that Moro would be stronger than at least manga Jiren, right? We don't know what the anime is gonna do, but it's safe to assume that the anime won't deviate too much from obvious, blatant statements of power scaling like this. So even if you just want to use the manga, okay, manga Moro is greater than manga Jiren, who again is greater than manga Beerus, and then we get to Granola, who using a clone is able to defeat initially Ultra Instinct Goku, and then is able to withstand an onslaught from Ultra Ego Vegeta, and then Goku comes back after he gets his Zenkai and manages to like completely nag Granola's whole targeting vitals thing in just Super Saiyan Blue. And then we have stuff like Toyotaro saying that Goku still has to surpass Beerus, and it's like, is Beerus ever going to be surpassed? And it's like, it wouldn't be a problem if they had proven Beerus to be continually above Goku. My issue is when they say over and over that he has been surpassed, and then Toyotaro retroactively, or perhaps he hasn't even read the series that he's writing, after the fact, he decides to say, well, actually, he has to surpass Whis, but he also has to surpass Beerus, right? Um, it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous, and this only contributes to the narrative that people like Granola aren't stronger than Beerus, right? It's just bad writing, that's what it is. It's just bad writing, and as a result, it happens to be bad scaling. I hope the anime decides to not pull this nonsense and make it in a way that Beerus still being able or still being relevant makes sense. Like, say he's been training a lot because he doesn't want to be surpassed or something. That would make logical sense. However, at this point, that is just headcanon because we have no indication of that. And in fact, we might actually have the opposite of that because every time we see Beerus, he's eating pizza or sleeping for the next 20 years. So it really makes no sense for Beerus to be, in terms of power scaling, relevant at all to Goku. And I really dislike this attempt from Toyotaro to make Beerus relevant when he simply does not have the feats to stack up. It really is just bad writing. I said it once and I'll say it again. It really is just bad writing. So going forward, I'm not sure what the plan is because the Granola arc seems to be I don't even know what they're doing with Bardock or whatever, but maybe that's a discussion for another day. But the Granola arc seems to be at a point where, again, Beerus is not relevant to the story. You take a look at what purpose has Beerus served to the story, and he hasn't done much besides setting up characters like Jiren. Like, okay, Jiren's stronger than Beerus. Well, that's crazy, But besides that, he hasn't done much. So I don't appreciate Toyotaro's attempt to say that Goku still hasn't surpassed him, especially due to the fact that Goku is training with Whis and learning Ultra Instinct. I understand the little rivalry that Goku and Vegeta are supposed to have. So if Goku is with Whis, then Vegeta learning things from Beerus, that makes sense. So it's sort of a thing where not only is it Goku versus Vegeta, but it's also Whis' teachings versus Beerus' teachings. But the problem is that because Whis is stronger, and from what we've seen, Ultra Instinct is just like inherently better than whatever Ultra Ego or whatever the real form of what Vegeta was trying to learn from Beerus. It's just really a nonsensical attempt to make an irrelevant character relevant. They keep on moving the goalposts, and it's you know really annoying. Really, my problem with modern Dragon Ball comes down to this sort of situation with Beerus. Obviously, there are other issues, but I think the major gripe that I have of recently is because of Beerus. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us this time though. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video or learned something new. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything. Again, just a rant video, not as long as my more in-depth power scaling videos. Um, so yeah, that's just how I feel about it. My name is Luna, also known as Luna the Programmer, and I will catch you guys in that next one, but I will see you later. Peace.